Hello again, everyone. So, if you would have seen my other episodes, I have shared with you my top books for 2020. But apart from that, I also want to share with you some of the books that did not quite make it to my must read list, but I still thoroughly enjoyed. So, I want to share them with you just as well, right? But just very quickly. I love books and I read a lot. This year, I made a personal goal to read one book per week. And in this series, I will share with you some of the books that made quite an impression on me. I hope you enjoy this. Okay, so let's start. So first up is called The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. If I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing that right. So this was published in 2019. I believe this is one of the bestsellers for 2020. It opens with a murder of her husband, and she is the prime suspect. And for all intents and purposes, it really looked like she killed her husband, and so she was taken away into a mental institution. Because why the mental institution? Because ever since it happened, she refused to talk. She just refused to say anything, right? But the catch is that we don't know if her refusal to speak is intentional or is she really having mental issues. We don't know. Okay, a doctor basically became interested in Alicia's case and he wanted to take it on. So you will hear the story from his perspective. So this is quite a fun read. You know, if you're in an investigative mood, and you know if you're in a thriller type mood, it's a good book, and it delivers a good twist at the end, an unexpected twist, and I really think that's the reason why it also became a bestseller. Because more often than not in psychological thrillers, mystery book, parang towards the end, more or less, alam mo na kung ano yung ending eh. But in this case, it's a surprising ending. Satisfying na rin. I have to say, satisfying na rin yung ending niya. So it's good. It's good. So give it a try if you're in the mood for a psychological thriller, murder/mystery type genre. Okay? So one down. Next is Supermarket by Bobby Hall, or also known as Logic. I believe he is a well-known rapper musician in the US. This is his debut novel, if I'm not mistaken. This book surprised me because it tackles another serious issue, mental health issue, told from a first-person perspective. The name of the protagonist is Flynn, and Flynn is like, he's just a normal dude trying to live a normal life, and he works in a supermarket, but at the same time he's also in the process of writing a novel. Okay, he's also a writer. So it tells you about a subject matter that is quite serious, but in a language, in a tone that would be more understandable, perhaps, or more relatable, actually, would be the right word, more relatable. And what I loved about the book also is that it's surprising. It never fails to surprise you, chapter after chapter, until the very last page. You're never quite sure what Flynn is, when Flynn is lucid and when he is not. When is the real memory from the imagined memory? And in the process of trying to discover that as the reader, that's where you kind of try to figure it out for yourself, and that's where the fun kind of kicks in. So, all right. So if you're into that, you want to give it a try, yeah, go right ahead. So I'm just gonna put that there. Next is America is Not the Heart by Elaine Castillo, published in 2018. And this is extra special to me because it's a Filipino author. Elaine talks about the quintessential Filipino dream of going to the Americas, going to the US and living the American dream back in the 70s and 80s decades. It's a touching story. It's a moving story of, of a Filipina who's just trying to find her way in life and trying to live her life the way that she wants to, but at the same time trying not to disappoint her family. And with every Filipino family ethic, that's very important for us. We don't want to disappoint our loved ones and our family, our parents. So Hero's problem is that first and foremost, because in her teenage years she lost her way, and then an uncle tried to save her and brought her to the US, and then one thing led to another. So in the process, it's really a book about finding yourself, I suppose, and trying and and giving yourself a second chance in life and trying to open yourself to new possibilities that, second chances do happen and there are good people out there, and just, being open to that. Okay, so it's a nice touching story. Give it a shot if you're in the mood for that. I am running out of breath. Okay, next. Okay, next is Gods of Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno-Garcia. So this is a special book for me. This is a special title for me. Really enjoyed it. Why? Because I think this is my first time to read about Mexican mythology. I love Greek mythology. I love, gods, stories about gods and goddesses and all that. But more often than not, we are more exposed to Greek, Vikings and Norse mythology and all that. But this one surprised me. I loved it. It's about, again, a simple girl who lives in a simple household, in a very strict household, who is longing for a bigger life in the city, who is longing to have adventure in her life. And then lo and behold, one day, she's kind of like Pandora's box. She opened a box that she wasn't meant to open, and out came a powerful, handsome god who needed her help to fulfill a quest. So it's a fantasy story, obviously. It has love. It has love and adventure. That would be the two themes of this book: love and adventure, and finding yourself and sacrifice. I loved the ending. I loved every step of it. Every step of it. It surprised me, and I really enjoyed it. Every once in a while, I need a dose of fantasy genre. So this came at a time when I needed it. So it's kind of like, refreshed everything for me. So yeah, give this a try if you're if you're in a mood for a little fantasy, a little love and adventure, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so last three. I'm running out of time. Last three. Hello, Ready Player 2. For all of you folks who have read Ready Player 1, I don't think I need to say much, but this is a sequel to the amazing first book of Ernest Cline, which is called Ready Player 1. If you have not read Ready Player 1, don't bother with this. Read that first. If you have read Ready Player 1, then you must read this. Okay? Now, this book is nerdier, it is geekier, it is more niche than the first one. And I guess for those who have not read Ready Player 1 and Ready Player 2, the genre is sci-fi. The genre is dystopian future / sci-fi. If you have seen the movie Ready Player 1, please forget the movie, okay? The movie is good in its own right, but do not compare it with the book. Please, just read the book and then read this. Read Ready Player 1 and then read this. So it follows the story of the protagonist, Wade Watts, and continues on his journey basically after what happened. It picks up exactly where Ready Player 1 leaves or left off. And there's a new, much more powerful, much more menacing villain in Ready Player 2. But true to Ernest Cline / Ready Player 1 formula, if I can call it, there's a lot of side quests within this book until the big epic ending. Okay, so it's still worth it. It's still worth it. I would be lying if I say that this is better than the first one. It is not, but it's still good. If you have read Ready Player 1, you must read this. So you'll still enjoy it. All right. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a fun read. Last two. This one is The Midnight Library. Very popular book. Bestseller. I think it's in the bestseller list for a number of weeks now in everywhere. So I had to grab a copy, right? Simple story. It's a very touching story. And it's a very familiar theme. We've all heard about it. We've all seen it in the movies. It is like, my comparison is like the movie A Christmas Carol, wherein the ghosts of Christmas, present, past, and future. It's not a new theme. It's a similar theme, but this time it's about a girl named Nora. It's about a girl named Nora, and Nora is sick of life. She just wants to quit life. She just wants to not participate in life anymore. and she wanted to commit suicide, and she wanted to end her life. When she ended her life, though, she was given not just another chance but several chances. She was sent to the Midnight Library, wherein some form of angel or another guardian, I would suppose, told her that if you could reverse a regret, something that you regret in your life, what would it be? And would you live that life? And she's given a chance to actually live that life. And then if she likes that version of herself, then she gets to keep it. If not, then she gets to come back and kind of, whether she dies or not, parang ganyan. It's not a new subject matter, but the way it's written is very touching, and it's very tender. It's a practice in introspection, I suppose. It will make you reflect. And I read this book during Christmas holiday break, and like I said before, it's a good holiday break read, because it's good for reflecting about your past, reflecting about your past decisions, about your regrets. Whenever you reflect on something, the next step to that is gratitude, right? Realizing what you have, right? And appreciating what you have. So this is what this book is about. It's really about being thankful and being grateful and recognizing the good things that you already have. So it was a good read. It's a very easy read. It's written beautifully. So I think majority will like that if you're in the mood for that. And last but not the least, Self-Care by Leigh Stein. Now, I don't have the physical book with me anymore because I gave it away for Christmas. So I'm just going to show you the photo. So this one is a fun read. It's wicked fun. That's how I would describe it. The thing to remember about this book is that it's a satire. This book pokes fun at the hashtag girl boss culture and the woke culture. And the author tries to kind of lift the filters, remove the filters, and show the reader that really wellness and self-care may not really be their product, but really the product is just money. It's just greed, and they just want, attention and all that. That's one side of it. The other side of it, the more serious side of the book, is about superficial feminism. So superficial feminism, by the term itself, means you appear to be a feminist, but really you don't practice what you preach. And in this book, the two protagonists named Maren and Devin, they represent the two types of superficial feminists. One is I think it's Devin, who is your perfect Instagram perfect girl. She's a girl boss. She's pretty. She's popular. She has money. But she, like other girls out there, she has her personal issues that she always denies. So all the while she's preaching self-care and wellness and feminism, but in her own life, she can't accept it. On the other hand, Maren is another type of superficial feminist, wherein she's very vocal. She's very almost aggressive about her being a feminist, to a point of being obnoxious about it. But in her own home, she has her own personal issues with her boyfriend, I think, or her boyfriend. And in her own space at home, she cannot practice her being a feminist. So in that sense, she's also faking it. That's why it's about superficial feminism. So quite the serious topic, but it's written funny. It's funny. It's a funny read. It's a satire. Don't get too offended when you read it. I could imagine that some would like it, some will not. I don't think there's any gray area here. It's either you will get it, you will like it, or you won't, right? So if you want to give it a try, it's a wicked fun read. Do give it a shot. I think it's fun. So yeah, there you have it. And so we're done. That's the, I think, seven fiction honorable mentions for 2020. And again, my honorable mentions mean they did not quite make it to my must-read list, but they are still quite good. They're still quite fun reads. So if you're in the mood for that, give it a shot, and I hope that helps. Thank you.